Chapter 800, Three Fish Groups, Great Harvest. Plop! The desolate beast dragonfish crashed into the water, creating a huge wave that was several meters tall. Fang Yuan was cloaked in a black robe. He had his face hidden as he stood in the air. There were 6 strength path giant hands circling around at his body. The desolate beast dragonfish screamed, entering the water, and did not want to fight Fang Yuan anymore. It swam into the deeper parts of the water. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. Do you think that by hiding underwater, I can do nothing to you? Immortal goo-pulling water. Fang Yuan's body shuddered. He stretched out his left and right hands as he slowly grabbed at the deep pool that was as wide as a lake from afar. A formless power held up the lake water. It was as if a thick cloth under the water was being pulled up. Thick columns of flowing water had countless ordinary dragonfish in them as they poured into Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. After Fang Yuan said goodbye to He Lulan and Fairy Li Shan, he did not spend much time before he found this deep pool. This deep pool was the one with the most water that he had seen so far. It was like a large lake. Dongfang tribe had specially created it and raised 900,000 dragonfish inside it. Among them was a desolate beast dragonfish. Fang Yuan was in an eager mood. He went ahead and took them for himself. The desolate beast dragonfish went ahead and fought him. In the end, Fang Yuan used several strength path giant hands and easily defeated it. Even though the dragonfish had a dragon in its name, it was very mediocre in fighting. Moreover, this dragonfish may have been a desolate beast, but it had no immortal goo. It was almost at the bottom tier of desolate beasts. But the meat of the dragonfish was a food ingredient with a wide range of applications. Not only could wild beasts and variant humans eat them, they could also be used as supplementary ingredients and fed to gooworms. In Treasure Yellow Heaven, the business of dragonfish meat had long since been flourishing. Each transaction was a huge sum of profits. So many dragonfish, this pool of dragonfish was probably accumulated over 100 years by Dongfang tribe. But now this is all mine, ha ha ha. Fang Yuan felt joyful. He continued to activate pulling water immortal goo without pausing. Thankfully, he had pulling water immortal goo. Otherwise, he would have no way to collect such a valuable and huge amount of resources. Boom, boom, boom! Far away, the fighting of goo immortals could be heard. Fang Yuan collected the dragonfish as he looked around. His gaze was deep as he thought. It seems that over at He Lulan's side, they are starting to attack captivating sea already. He did not regret the decision to give up on Minuscule Mountain. In this world, things were easier said than done. Theories were easy to understand, but when it came to execution, how many people could succeed? Thus, in front of huge profits, it was hard to decide what to give up and what to pursue. Especially when Minuscule Mountain had huge value to Fairy Li Shan personally. Although Fairy Li Shan's vital goo was Mountain Pledge goo and she was an information path goo immortal, when she fought, most of her methods were wood path techniques. Since she also cultivated wood path, her immortal aperture probably mostly involved growing flowers and plants as her revenue. Had recorded the details, it made Minuscule Mountain even more attractive. But how could it be so easy to take away Minuscule Mountain? It was simply too difficult. There was little hope. Since that demonic path goo immortal gave this information to Fang Yuan so easily, he was likely to also tell others. Or perhaps there were already goo immortals who knew long ago. Attacking the restricted area, captivating sea, would create a huge commotion. How could they hide it from people like Pi Shui Han? Even though more people meant a greater force to strike with, the demonic path goo immortals handled matters individually. Fang Yuan was well aware of their natures. Earlier during the battle at Taichu, if not for the demonic path goo immortals fighting among themselves, how could Dongfang Changfan have succeeded in his possession so easily? Thus, there was essentially very little hope in obtaining Minuscule Mountain. Did Fairy Li Shan and He Lulan not know that the chances were slim? It was because this profit was too huge. The goo immortals were extremely moved. Even if there was just a trace of hope, they would desperately latch onto it. A loud dragon roar interrupted Fang Yuan's thoughts. The huge dragonfish jumped out of the water. Its eyes were blood red as it charged towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had expected this. He slammed down with four strength path giant hands. The method in which he was extracting the deep pool water was extremely efficient. He just needed a small amount of time to drain the pool dry. Thus, the dragonfish was already a cornered animal. If it did not attack now, it would be too late. But facing Fang Yan, who had rank 7 battle strength, the dragonfish's final struggle quickly met with a huge setback. It ended up heavily injured. More than 10 breaths of time later, the heavily injured desolate beast dragonfish was sent into Fang Yuan's immortal aperture, using the strength path giant hands. After spending some more effort, this huge and deep pool was nearly dried out. All of the dragonfish inside were collected into his aperture. In order to take these dragonfish, he spent a total of 4 green grape immortal essences beads. But Fang Yuan had great joy in his eyes. Ever since he entered Jade Pool Blessed Land, he obtained the oil water, desolate beast shark fin wolf, eerie fire dragon python, some ordinary resources, and a batch of regretful spiders. In terms of value, this newly obtained dragonfish group was at the top. It was more valuable than the desolate beast shark fin wolf, which was second place by a small margin. This batch of dragonfish was too large. There was almost 1 million of them. With such a deep foundation, as long as he spent some effort in nurturing them, it would be a source of endless revenue. Over on Heilu Lan's end, intense battles were still ongoing. Fang Yuan did not turn around. He flew towards an area even further away. Not long after, he stopped in his tracks and was overjoyed to see the dense forest below him. The forest spanned an enormous range. At the center of the forest, there was a pool of water that covered an area of the size of a house. The entire forest was planted for the sake of this pool. Or more accurately speaking, it was because this pool was raising a group of peculiar fish literature carps. Literature carps and true martial carps are known as the literature and martial twin carps. To think that in Dongfang tribe, they had over 10 literature carps. Fang Yan quickly went down with great excitement. Literature carps were very hard to catch. They were low in numbers, even in Eastern Sea. They were very uncommon. Literature carps usually remain still in water, moving along with the flow of water. Once they moved their tails and swam slowly, their entire bodies would turn into text chi. Even Gu immortals without specific methods could not capture them. They could only watch in vain. When Fang Yan came here, the literature carps were alarmed. They turned into text chi as they moved around pervading the water. Fang Yuan's lips curled into a confident smile. His pulling water, immortal Gu could control the flow of water. As long as the literature carps did not leave the pool, to him they were as good as caught. But when he was about to make his move, a demonic path Gu immortal appeared, rising into the air. "Senior, please wait. This resource point has already been occupied by me." This demonic path Gu immortal was thin. He smiled as he said that. He was only rank 6, but he had no fear when facing Fang Yuan. "Who are you?" Fang Yuan's expression did not change. "Eh, this junior is Zhou Ping." The demonic path Gu immortal cupped his fists. Fang Yuan laughed sinisterly, threatening. "Junior Zhou Ping, you have guts, daring to get in my way. With your cultivation level, you are not fit to talk about rules with me." The demonic path Gu immortal, Zhou Ping, instead smiled. No, I am naturally unable to defeat Senior. But I have some insights in flying. I have 2 immortal killer moves. Even unfettered scholar, Hei Chung, and Fairy Liao cannot catch me. If Senior wants a literature carps, you can trade with me. Otherwise, even though I cannot defeat Senior, I can destroy this pool in an instant. Fang Yuan was silent. His eyes shined with a ruthless light as he observed Zhou Ping. Zhou Ping was unmoved. He was calm and composed due to his trump card. This was the advantage of a Gu immortal, skilled in movement. They are often in a situation where they cannot lose. They can talk to opponents with higher cultivation level or battle strength with ease. Even though Fang Yuan had the killer move Mirror itself, he was lacking in the aspect of movement. Even with Iron Crown Eagle Strength Immortal Gu, together with true solid bat wings, that was not an immortal killer move. It was inferior to Zhou Ping's methods. "Very good, Zhou Ping. I will remember you. I wish you well in constantly guarding this place. and to not fall into my hands from now on. Fang Yuan left behind a threat as he left. Zhou Ping heard this, and his smile disappeared. He changed his tone. Senior, is this necessary? This junior only wants a transaction. My request is not much either. But Fang Yuan did not listen to Zhou Ping. His body was like lightning as he quickly traveled elsewhere. Zhou Ping frowned. He felt a little distraught. Pointlessly offending a strong and mysterious Gu immortal, he felt very uneasy. Most importantly, Fang Yuan's words were attacking Zhou Ping's weakness. He could not stay here forever to look after the literature carps. Damn it! I do not have a method to collect this group of literature carps. Zhou Ping looked at the deep pool as he stamped his foot, extremely downcast. Fang Yuan left Zhou Ping behind and flew rapidly towards his next destination. After flying a huge distance, he landed, looking at the deep pool below him. He had a joyous expression. This deep pool was neither large nor small. There was a fish group inside. This type of fish was similar to goldfish. It had a round belly, a small pointed head, and a tail. However, it was not brightly colored like goldfish and was mostly milky white. It also did not have a wavy tail and fins. Its tail was small and exquisite. When the fish moved, they did not go left, right, forwards, or backwards. They only floated upwards and downwards. They resembled balloons moving in the water. This type of fish was something Fang Yuan had raised before. It was air bubble fish. But because Fang Yuan ran into difficulties and was lacking in funds, he had to sell the air bubble fish group that he was raising for a while to get the funds he desperately needed. Air bubble fish could eat ordinary worms, insects, grubs, and so on, digesting a portion of them while storing the rest as reserves in their stomach. These life forms in the stomach were nourished and had an increased chance to become a gu. Thus, air bubble fish could increase the production of gu worms. During the Five Regions' chaotic war, it was a heavily sought-after good among gu immortals. This air bubble fish group has quite a large size. In terms of the price in Treasure Yellow Heaven, it is half of the desolate beast sharkfin wolf. Fang Yuan inspected. When he saw that there was no gu immortal like Zhou Ping appearing, he immediately made his move and used pulling water immortal gu to take all of the air bubble fish. This air bubble fish group was the third in value among Fang Yuan's profits. You band of thieves! Brazenly robbing my Dongfang tribe's headquarters. At this time, Dongfang Changfan's furious screams could be heard over the entirety of Jade Pool Blessed Land. Unfettered Scholar burst out and shouted, immediately screaming, "Old thief Dongfang, get ready to lose your dog life!"